up in Philadelphia City. I seen two sides. And if it was three, I didn't pay attention to it. The two sides was the lamb or the wolf. The wolf, they stood out. The lamb always was on the run. I seen how the wolf had the respect, and I seen how the wolf can have the things he wanted. I seen how the wolf was treated. And so I chose to be the wolf. It made people fear me as I walked down the street or in the classroom. So I really became very, very intoxicated because I knew I had that power. My childhood in Philadelphia was basically, grew up in a big family, but I had to go outside and they couldn't watch me 24/7, 7 days a week, obviously. The streets was basically my parents. Sometimes I didn't come home till the next morning. It became not really a struggle, it became I'm with the streets, and then I come in when I need some rest. So the house became sort of like a Salvation Army to me. You want the new sneaks, you want the money in your pocket, you want the gold, the chain, the car. Your mother don't have these things, your father don't have these things. So after a while, bad wins over good. It takes a very, very strong individual not to be corrupt in any of those things as time moves on. Myself and other people who went that road and experienced that world, and some got a second birth of life, and some is in the dirt. I got stabbed by a boyfriend of my sister. He had smacked her, did something to her. She came and got me and said that her boyfriend had beat her up. We went around the corner. Boyfriend was sitting there. I jacked him up pretty good. The next day, I was playing street football. And he came up and back at me and he stabbed me with a steak knife. I was too high for marijuana at the time to even realize, but I know I got stabbed because I just felt a warm sensation, you know, coming down my jacket, and it was just all bloody. Underneath was a t-shirt. It was red, like somebody threw ketchup on the front of it. I got stabbed near my heart, which is up around here, and stayed in the hospital for like 2 months. After that, it was just basically all downhill as far as the way I looked at life. Like, I really didn't care. Like, I'll do something to somebody the next day and I'll walk in front of them the next day like it never happened. I have very, very low value on my own life. It was two graveyards. There's one in the dirt and there's one in the penitentiary. And that's where I experienced one of those. And that was the penitentiary at 17 to 24. Prison have a face of its own. Everybody's watching everybody. Everybody's watching the strong become prey. You always got to be on your game like a fighter in the ring. Your walk can get you in a fight. You staring at somebody too long can get you in a fight. It could be a phone. A lot of phone calls, a lot of stabbings happen because I'm on the phone, I'm not getting off in 10 minutes, maybe I'm taking 11 minutes. Now I'm on his time, he got 9 minutes. I've seen deaths. I've seen people get stabbed to death. I see people get hit with locks in the sock, padlocks, and get hit. The sock is doubled, so I won't go through the sock after a couple of hits. The sock is bloody, red bloody from the chunks and the dents it's putting in somebody's head. You're talking about a padlock in a sweat sock, doubled. You ready to get shot to get hit with that. And that's how prison is. You got to be willing to look in a guy's face and say, I will kill you if I have to. You got to be ready to look in the face and say that I will stab you, I will hurt you, and you can't talk the game. You got to really act and do the game. And prison is a thing where talking gets you killed. What gets you respect is you do. The guy that you fear is the guy that says nothing. They have boxing in prison. They have boxing in prison. That there brought me back to something that I neglected early on in my adolescence, where I stopped boxing. I got bored. I got trophies everywhere. I want money. I see people in the neighborhood. So that became bored to me. But I still had the reputation. But when I go to prison, not knowing the first 8, 9 months, I ran wild through the prison, like everybody else. You got to build reputation. You got to build respect. So, you know, you holding your own. But when the gym is presented and they got boxing tournaments amongst D block versus E block, A block versus B block, in some cases you get good status to go to other prisons, shackled in a bus to another prison 3 or 4 miles down the road. We're having these state tournaments. And they got the headgear on and off, and they got announcer. And they got the national anthem being sang by the inmate. And they got a yard where we in the summertime. And you got a guy, an inmate, that's acting like he's Howard Cosell. It became another way for people to know, wow, that guy, he can write. And this thing became sort of like a full circle with me. Because in the streets, people knew me, and they knew what I did. Now, half of that followed me, or who that, but then when I actually start physically, they start watching me, and I'm running the yard, and I'm training, I'm getting ready for sparring matches and then fighting other prisoners, it brought me the same respect that I had in the street. So I had killers. I had robbers. I had everybody that was in there for whatever they was in there for, whether they said they didn't do it or not. They weren't my judge. But they knew that Bernard Hopkins, yo, we got a guy that can fight on D block. You become a celebrity. Because I'm really a championeer. But it was the respect when somebody said, don't mess with him. You all right? You need anything? You all right, champ? That was like my meds. That was medication for me. My thing was, when I get out, I'm never coming back. And if I can stay out longer than 6 months, I might have a shot, because that's never a thing that I can do. And turning professional and then losing my first fight, as you look at the archives, with Clinton Mitchell in May of 1988. Never forget it. It was like going back to prison. And them 15 months of inactive. If you look at 1989, you look at 1990, I ain't do nothing in the ring. Every now and then they look at my record and say, what happened in 89? You lost in 88, 4-rounder, $100 a round. Here's my friends got $40,000 in a brand new Mercedes, and I just fought for my life. I thought that 4-rounder was like my life for $400. What side would you be on? Either I'm gonna be here, which was the right choice, or in the penitentiary or in the graveyard. But if something clicked, if something happened prior to coming out, and prior to being there, done that made me say, I'm gonna stick it out. And I went into boxing with that attitude in one of my next 23 fights. Early in my career, I was executing guys very quickly. But the execution name is something that I really stuck with, because knowing that I'm going up against people that I'm going to execute, they got to think about who would name themselves the executioner with the right mind. And then second, if he a beast like he says he is, then let me see footage. And then they see all these things, and then they got to prepare for the executioner. That not only you got to fight this guy that's perceived to be crazy, but you got to do it in grand fashion. That's too much pressure on any guy. I wouldn't want to fight me, because I know it wouldn't be a good outcome for both.
Everybody up! Cell block D, get up!
Remember now, that professional boxing shit ain't gonna help you here. No refs, no rounds. You fight until somebody quits.
I'm ready to fight right now.
He just had a fight, he ain't had time to rest.
I care, Ace.
I'm sorry the way things worked out for you.
He chews fighters up and he spits them out.
You don't know who you're with.
You take the fight to that, and he won't know what hit him.
I got a feeling it's not going to be your night.
We're not winning any decisions tonight. McQueen, listen.
We came to have a little talk. I lost my youth. I lost my career. I lost my dream. Now what?
PlayStation